Welcome to the Tea of Life podcast, where our mission is to transform every area of life by encouraging and equipping you to live the life you love and love the life you live. I am your host, Tiffany Thompson. Hey, and welcome to this episode of Tea of Life podcast. I am so excited that you have decided to join me today. As you know, we are currently in a state of shutdown due to the coronavirus pandemic, and I'm praying for you daily. And I'm hoping that each of you is safe and taken care of during this crazy time. Our family is currently hunkering down like all of you are in our home, and we seem to be adjusting well. In actuality, not much has really changed for us, except the time that we usually spend out with our friends is no longer allowed, and we eat at home way more than we did before. But I kind of feel like our family has been preparing for this. I mean, we already homeschool. We already limit our social time by choice. I already cut my own hair, and we already are used to making infrequent trips to the grocery store. I don't have fake nails or eyelashes that need to be taken care of. And, we're kind of enjoying this time at home. My husband is in the live entertainment business, and he suddenly found himself completely out of work. But because we live on less than we make and have prepared ourselves financially, like I've encouraged you to do in so many episodes, we're okay. And we're going to be okay for a while. So anyway, I want you to know that even though those things may be true, we're not taking this lightly. And we know that there are many out there who are finding themselves in a state of panic and confusion. We know that many of you are sick and you're fighting the virus firsthand, and we're praying for you all every day. And we're hoping that this will soon pass and we can go back to normal, whatever that is. Or maybe during this we find a new normal. So one thing that I do know for sure is that we need to be careful about what we constantly tell ourselves and others during this time. We need to take responsibility for the words that we speak out loud. You may not know it or believe it, but the words that we speak matter. We have the grand ability to speak life and to speak death and even sickness to ourselves. Our body follows our thoughts. Our body can't think for itself. It only knows what we tell it. If we consistently tell it that we are sick, well then guess what? Your body will follow suit and you will eventually become sick. Whatever we succumb to believing usually becomes manifested throughout our bodies. Whatever we speak, we tend to believe. And if we talk about it long enough, we tend to go in that direction. I want to talk to you about this today because some of you out there are scared. You're scared and you're living scared and you're talking scared. You've been scared for a long time, and you're especially scared of this world that we're currently living in. You're scared of what the virus can bring. You're scared of getting the virus. You're scared of the economic impact that the virus could bring or has already brought. You're scared of it all, and you're not afraid to let everyone know it. I know, I see it every day. I've spent way too much time on social media these past few weeks, and everywhere I look, I see fear. People are speaking fear. And because they don't want to be alone, those same people are speaking and trying to instill fear in others as well. It's not good enough to be the only one afraid. Fear needs company in order to be a valid fear. Without the participation of others, fear cannot survive. So some of you thrive on fear. It's a technique that allows you to continue to make sense of everything that is going on around you. If you are fearful of what can come of this, then you feel that is a possible end result. And when it actually happens, what do you say? You say, see, I told you that was going to happen and no one would listen to me. You feel validated in that moment. But you know what you're not? Prepared. You spent way too much time trying to get others to jump on the same fear bandwagon that you forgot to prepare yourself, because you cannot be prepared for what can happen if you are fearful of what can happen. Fear is paralyzing, does not allow you to be prepared. There is no preparation in fear. Fear does not allow you to think properly or logically. Fear drives you to think about every possible scenario that could happen, or in your mind will happen, and doesn't allow you to think logically about how things will actually and ultimately turn out. So fear can happen anywhere, anytime. And right now, a lot of fear is derived from the news channel that you can't seem to turn off, or the Facebook or Instagram feed that you can't seem to turn away from. If you're getting your news from social media, there's a big part of your problem right there. You're getting fear news from those who are also afraid. The news anchors aren't as afraid as they would lead you to believe. It's their job to instill fear in you. That keeps you coming back. That keeps their ratings high. There isn't a lot of successful news businesses that don't instill fear. How do you think our country would be right now if everyone on the news was only able to report good news? Do you think that we would be in a better or worse position than we are right now? There is truth and there are lies. Sometimes it's hard to distinguish between the two, but that could be because we're trying to discern with our minds and our bodies how we feel instead of what we may call our gut feeling, which in turn is our spirit. If we listen to our inner spirit, we will be able to better discern what is the truth and what is a lie. We will be able to better distinguish between what is really going on and what is not. We will be able to see things that the media doesn't want us to see, or maybe that they don't even see themselves. We can get to the bottom of what's really happening in the world around us. What does your gut tell you? Really think about it. Don't just make a hasty decision about whatever comes your way. Weigh it out against what you know to be truth. What sides does this information lean toward? What can be founded as truth, or what can be founded as lies? There are a lot of you out there on social media who have made it your mission to advise and share your knowledge with the world. You feel that it's your responsibility to tell the world what is really the truth and what is really a lie, because somehow you have way more knowledge about this than any other person around you. You feel that what you have to say is the only truth and that you have the inside scoop even before it's even shared. Or maybe it's not being shared because of some of the conspiracies that you've also conjured up. So stop it. You know who you are, and some of you are listeners to my podcast, and you have no right to be the spokesperson of fear into so many lives, into my life. The information that you share is not life-giving. It is not allowing the person reading it to live their best life during this pandemic. You have no right to take that away from them and from me. And for that reason, I have hidden many people from my social media feed and even unfollowed many as well. So maybe this is what you need to do as well. You need to hide all those people who you feel are not life-giving in your feed. This is your opportunity. If you read something and feel a little tinge that suddenly brings you down or puts you in a funk, ask yourself if you really feel this way every time you see this particular person's feed, or if it's an isolated event. If it's isolated, fine. Just keep scrolling. You don't have to comment on everything. Just keep scrolling. But if you start to see it over and over again, either hide or snooze them. I do it all the time, and it has really allowed me to keep my head in a better place during this time. If you've been listening for a while, you will know that I deal with some anxiety and depression, and it's very much under control due to choices that I make and how I've chosen to live my life and how I deal with others around me. I recognize it and I know my triggers. Some of you also deal with it as well. And the more you read certain posts or listen to certain news feeds or news feeds at all, the more you feel anxious and depressed. Sometimes you immediately feel that way when you see a certain name come across your Facebook feed. Without even reading their post, you feel anxious because of something that you've seen them post from time to time or over and over again. And it just doesn't resonate with you. It's okay. The problem is not you. And I'm not saying the problem is them. It's just, I just encourage you to hide whatever you need to hide, especially during this time, even if it's only temporary while this pandemic is taking place. In order to get through your day a better person and in a more healthy state of mind, hide them. It's okay. So a little side note, there was something that I noticed when I started hiding people from my feed, and that was that I'm actually starting to see people that I haven't seen in a long time. My Facebook algorithms have started changing, and that's been really great. So I want you to get through this time as a healthy person, mind, spirit, and body. Of course, I want you to be healthy and stay home away from the virus, but I also want you to stay healthy in your mind and spirit. It's very important. Sometimes overcoming sickness can start with just making good decisions with your mind and staying conscious as to what is really going on around you. I believe that we can manifest or bring on an illness just by being so afraid that we're going to get it, that we actually end up getting it. Now, don't mishear me and think that I'm downplaying the virus that is going around or any other illness that you're experiencing right now. This may be a weird concept to some, but I challenge you to do your own research. There are many times that we can think for so long that we are suffering from a particular ailment that we aren't actually suffering from at all, and actually bring that on as an illness because we're so afraid or convinced that we actually had it to begin with or already have it. This is proven both scientifically and spiritually. Look it up, do your own research. So don't be afraid to monitor the people around you in your life right now. It's okay to quieten some people down and not allow them to speak fear or sickness into your life. If that's how they want to live during this time, that's up to them. It's not your responsibility to change them. You are not responsible for them. You are only responsible for you. You are in control of you. You need to take care of you and the members of your household during this time. Take this time to evaluate some of your relationships, okay? While you're in self-isolation, this is a fantastic time to do that. So my desire here is for you to love your life. We were not meant to live a life of anguish or misery. I believe that God desires for us to live our life in full of hope, grace, intention, laughter, and freedom like we have never known or experienced before. And today, I hope that I am able to push you a little further into that direction. Stay safe and stay well. And thank you for listening to this episode of Tea of Life Podcast. If you like Tea of Life Podcast and you've got two friends who want to create the life that they love to live, tell them about us. Find us on your favorite social media platform like Facebook or Instagram. Also, right now before you forget, go to Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts and search for Tea of Life Podcast. Hit the subscribe button and never miss an episode. Thank you for listening to Tea of Life Podcast. We will see you next Thursday.